We are going to make the fanciest kimchi cheese toasty ever today. Hi everyone, it's Tasha. Welcome to another recipe video. And today we're going to be making a kimchi croque madame. You might have heard of a croque monsieur or croque madame. They're both French cheese toasties. The croque monsieur is the original one, I believe. Describing a croque monsieur in the simplest terms, it's basically a ham and cheese toasty, and on top is spread some béchamel sauce, that's the creamy white sauce, often grated with a bit of extra cheese and then put under the grill to brown. Some people say that the slices of bread are soaked in eggs, French toast style first, but I'm not sure about that. Some recipes do that. Some people just use the plain old bread. And the croque madame is simply the same thing but with a fried egg on top. And as is probably quite obvious by the names, they are French. To make our kimchi croque madame today, I'm going to swap out the ham for kimchi. And to give it a little extra kick, I'm also going to spread the slices with gochujang. This recipe makes one croque madame, so it's enough for like a very generous lunch, or if you yourself are feeling generous, you can share it. Me personally, I'm going to be eating this one all to myself. So with all that said, let's go to the kitchen and see how it's done. We're going to start by making quite possibly the smallest batch of bechamel / white sauce you have ever seen. This is literally just 8 grams of unsalted butter, and this is 5 grams of plain flour. And we're going to melt the butter and stir it until it's well combined with the flour to make a sort of roux, a paste. Now that it's just combined, I'm going to stir in about 60 millilitres of milk. And I'm going to turn the heat up to medium heat, and I'm just going to stir this together until it's thickened. And this is our basic bechamel sauce, but we're going to add one more ingredient to it. I'm going to turn the heat off first. Give it a quick stir, don't want any lumps to form. And I'm just going to grate a little bit of fresh nutmeg. You can use pre-ground, but fresh is better. Just a sprinkling. Now I've turned the heat off, but while the hob is hot, I have a tablespoonful of butter in my frying pan, which we're going to make our cheese toasty part of the croque madame in. So since it's still a bit warm, I think it's quite handy to melt our tablespoonful of butter while we're at it, so I'm just going to leave that there. Now here I have 2 slices of bread, nice big slices. I've used sourdough in the past. Today I'm just using good old white loaf. And I've got some gochujang, this is Korean chili paste. And I'm going to spread about 1 teaspoon on each side. Now I'm going to take advantage of the fact that it's nice and sticky on this side, so I'm actually going to sprinkle over some chives, just like a small handful of chopped chives, onto one side. I'm going to save some for the top as well. Now I'm going to layer on the cheese. Here I have some sliced Gouda, which is lovely and mild, and usually when I make a croque madame or monsieur, I use really mature cheese, like a good mature cheddar or Gruyere. But because we're using kimchi and gochujang here, which are already quite salty and quite strong, I'm going for a mild cheese, so I suggest Gouda or a mild cheddar. But if you still like your strong cheeses, then feel free, but this is my suggestion. And I'm not going to give an exact measurement, you know, use as much cheese as your heart desires. And I'm using sliced here because I find it stays inside the bread more easily than grated cheese, which tends to go over, especially when you're trying to transfer it to the pan. I'm going to give it 2 layers of cheese because I don't play around. I'm also going to leave some cheese for the top. And now we're going to add some kimchi, and this is a 190 gram jar. I'm not going to use all of it, just some of it. I'm just going to layer it on. I'm not going to do a thick layer because if we do too thick a layer, then the cheese won't stick everything together. Just a thin layer of kimchi. There we go, I estimate that was about 1/3 of a jar. Now we're going to close our sandwich up, and of course we're going to fry it. So as you can see, I have it on a baking sheet, which I've lined with some baking foil. This is going to be when we toast the top of our sandwich after, but we're actually going to transfer this to our pan. So we're back to our frying pan now, and as you can see, our butter has melted. And I'm going to turn this up to a low to medium heat, so about the middle of my electric hob on the number 5. And I'm going to wait until the butter starts just about bubbling and simmering. Alright, it's just about bubbling. Let's give it a bit of a swirl, even it out. Nice even layer of butter. And we're going to gently lower our sandwich in. Give it a little bit of a press, cover it, and now I'm going to cook it for about 2 minutes, 1.5 to 2. Remember, we're keeping it on a medium heat, not too high, we don't want to burn it. Okay, I think we're ready to flip now. I'm going to be overly cautious and use 2, so I'm going to scoop from underneath, keep this together with this one, flip, and oh, that is looking good. That is looking gorgeous. Okay, let's pop the top on and cook it for another 2 minutes. Again, keeping it on medium, and have a peek halfway through to make sure that it's cooking. You don't want it to burn, so better be safe than sorry. Do have a peek halfway through if you need to. And look at that cheese starting to peek out of the sides. Ooh, delightful. I reckon that's done. Let's turn the heat off. Take the lid off, and we're going to pop our sandwich back on our baking sheet. We're going to deal with this and give it some toppings. Before we do that, I'm going to preheat the grill to reasonably hot. Let's put it to 180. Now I've got my beautiful sandwich here, and now we're going to spread our bechamel on top. It's gone a bit cold, so it's a little bit gooey, but don't worry, that is perfectly normal. There we go, that's kind of even. And as if we didn't have enough cheese, I'm going to layer a little bit more on. You know what, it's been a tough week, I'm going to layer a lot more on. And now I'm going to pop this under the grill for about 5 minutes, just until it's golden brown and bubbling. Meanwhile, I'm going to fry a sunny side up. I'm going to add just a little dash of vegetable oil in a small pan. Turn the heat up to medium, give it a little swirl around. Just going to wait for that to heat up for a few moments. Now that this is nice and hot, I'm going to crack an egg in. Perfect. Now you don't have to do this bit, but I also like to cover it with a lid, just to help the top cook a bit as well. And I'm just going to cook this for about a minute, 2 minutes, again, keep checking. It's been a couple of minutes, and yep, this is exactly how I want it, so I'll take this off the heat. Here we are. Oh, that is looking good. Now only the bechamel bit's browned, the cheese not so much, but I'm not too worried about that. I know that my oven also cooks a little bit unevenly. Now let's transfer this onto our serving plate. Oh, she is crisp. And of course we need to adorn her with our egg. I'm going to give it a little cracked black pepper. And finally, a few more of our chives. I have never been so excited to cut a sandwich open. Let's do it. I thought that the yolk popping would be more aesthetic than this, but I do quite like the cheesy pull effect when I pulled the sandwich open. Oh, look at that. Got to admit, the slow-mo looked a lot cooler in my head. I should have just broken the egg yolk and then cut it off screen. But anyway, the cross-section is absolutely gorgeous. I am super happy with that, if I'm not too happy with the slow-mo. Wow, look at the profile on this. The profile? I think I mean the cross-section. That is phenomenal. You know what, be right back. I'm going to cut a little slice so I can actually eat it a bit more easily because I don't have a table in front of me, and I have a feeling that picking this up with my hands is going to end in disaster, so be right back. Here we are. I managed to cut a little bit off the corner of the back one, so cheers. Brunch of dreams. I'm so glad I used the Gouda for this. I was feeling a bit guilty about not going traditional and using Gruyere cheese or some mature cheddar, but like I said, because we've got kimchi in there, we've got the gochujang, and both are already quite strongly flavoured, the mild creaminess of that Gouda just goes so well with it, and it's not overpowering either. So there you go, Kimchi Croque Madame. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe video and I hope you'll join me next Wednesday for my next one. Get the full written recipe on my blog tashcakes.com, follow me on Instagram, I'm tashcakes.tastes, and find me on TikTok too, I'm tashcakes there too, but my handle is food in slow motion. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you'd like to see more, give this video a like if you'd like to help other people find it, comment down below if you'd like me to make anything in particular, and I will see you all next time. Be good, be nice, and have a good week. Wow, this is why I should go to the table to eat this.